Denmark, the land of hygge, happiness, and a war on immigration. In 2025, headlines might make you think this progressive Scandinavian nation has slammed its doors shut, declaring all-out war on anyone trying to cross its borders. But the truth is far more complex and, frankly, more shocking. Denmark isn't just building walls, it's rolling out the red carpet. The question is, for whom? Stick around as we unravel the story of how Denmark is running two completely opposite immigration policies at the same time. To understand what's happening in 2025, we first need to look back. For years, Denmark has been on a deliberate path to becoming one of the toughest places in Europe for asylum seekers. This isn't a sudden shift. It's a long-term political project that has now reached its peak. This hardline stance was solidified in 2019 with a policy known as the paradigm shift. The goal, championed by the ruling centre-left Social Democrats, was to move from a system of integration to a system of temporary protection and eventual return. The government's stated aim is to have zero refugees seeking asylum spontaneously in the country. And the results are stark. In 2015, Denmark received over 21,000 asylum applications. By 2024, that number had plummeted to just a few hundred. In the first 3 months of 2025, only 481 applications were registered, with many of those being people already in the country. This was achieved through a series of highly controversial laws. You might have heard of the jewelry law, which allows authorities to seize assets from asylum seekers to pay for their stay. But it goes much deeper. Denmark has some of the strictest family reunification rules in Europe, requiring, among other things, that both partners be over 24 and the spouse in Denmark post a financial guarantee of over 59,000 Danish kroner. Furthermore, the government has introduced so-called anti-ghetto laws, which aim to limit the number of non-Western residents in certain neighborhoods to a maximum of 30%. For those granted protection, their status is temporary, with residency permits often needing renewal every 1 or 2 years, creating a constant state of uncertainty. This policy has led to Denmark revoking permits for some Syrian refugees, arguing that areas like Damascus are now safe for return. The government, now holding the EU presidency for the second half of 2025, is actively pushing for these stricter migration policies to be adopted across Europe, focusing on stronger external borders and more efficient returns. So, case closed, right? Denmark is anti-immigration. Well, this is where the story takes a sharp turn. While building a fortress to keep asylum seekers out, Denmark is simultaneously facing a massive labor shortage. The country needs to find an estimated 90,000 full-time workers by 2030 to keep its economy running and support its famed welfare state. And so, in 2025, the very same government that wants zero refugees has rolled out the welcome mat for skilled foreign workers. As of July 1st, 2025, major changes have made it easier for non-EU professionals to get a work visa. The government has expanded its positive lists, which are lists of in-demand jobs, to include 190 titles for those with higher education and 65 for skilled technical workers. Most significantly, for nationals from 16 specific countries, including the US, UK, India, and Brazil, the minimum salary requirement for a work permit has been drastically lowered. It dropped from over 500,000 Danish kroner a year to just 300,000 Danish kroner, which is roughly $43,000. So you have this clear paradox. A near-total stop on humanitarian immigration running alongside a targeted campaign to attract labor immigration. This two-faced approach is creating friction within the Danish government itself. In June 2025, Denmark's own foreign minister, Lars Løkke Rasmussen, publicly warned that the hard tone and black-and-white arguments of the immigration debate are harming the nation's ability to attract the very workers it desperately needs. This came in stark contrast to statements from Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, who has argued that even labor immigration needs limits, particularly from certain regions. It's a political tightrope walk, trying to appear tough on immigration to satisfy voters concerned about cultural cohesion and the cost of the welfare state, while simultaneously trying to attract the talent needed to fund that very same system. So, why did Denmark declare this war? It didn't, not in the way you might think. What we're seeing in 2025 is the result of a calculated, years-long strategy to redefine who gets to call Denmark home. It's a pragmatic, if ruthless, approach that distinguishes between those it sees as a potential drain on its welfare system and those it sees as essential contributors. The Danish model is a fortress for refugees but an open door for high-skilled professionals. It's a controversial blueprint that other European nations are watching closely. It raises a fundamental question for the 21st century. In a world of global migration, Can a nation truly have it both ways? What do you think? Is this a sustainable model for the future, or a contradiction that's bound to collapse? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.